Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome back to day 15, and today we're going to talk about record keeping, which is an important but it sounds like a boring topic, but it's very important to your poker success. Before we do that, let's just recap what we talked about yesterday. We were in the heads up stuff. Remember, we just want to make sure that when you're talking about heads up, you want to raise a lot of hands from the button, avoid calling out of position, and your position is the key. Heads up. It's very, very, very important. And if not, go back and look at that video. That was a sort of a textbook way you want to be playing heads up to sort of take your opponent down. So today, basically, why is it important to keep good records? Well, first off, it's very important that you do sort of track every sort of game you're playing, because that way it's the only way you know how you're doing, what weaknesses you're having with, and basically when you're ready to move up levels. And we're going to sort of talk about that in the next lesson, when you're ready to move up. But basically, yeah, you need that information here. So there's a great product out there. We're going to sort of switch over there. Below this video, there's a link to it. It's called Poker Office. I mean, you can keep track of what every game you play just on an Excel spreadsheet, but what Poker Office does is actually keeps detailed stats of all your play, and then what you can do is actually break it down with graphs, and there's so much information here. Look, you come to this screen here, the different screenshots. There's live game tracking. It tracks yourself and your opponents on what they're playing, but it really breaks it down. And sometimes when you go back and look at some of this data, you're like, oh, I'm really always losing. I'm a losing player when I play the big blinds or the small blind, because a lot of people think that they're, because they're in the blinds, they have to complete, but sometimes that's a losing proposition in there. So it's a good way to go back and sort of fix certain leaks in your game where they're saying, oh, you're playing way too many hands early on in a sit and go, and you can see that you're playing too many hands, and that they're in the long run it's actually losing stuff. So there's a lot of detailed analysis on your poker. You set it up and it automatically gets your hand histories and makes these detailed graphs for you. It's actually got a poker odds calculator included as well, and some other cool things. I think there's actually even a replayer. Yeah, there's a hand replayer as well included in there. So go check it out if there's something you want to keep track of your records. There's a link below the video, like I said, and you can go check it out there. It's relatively cheap, and for what it does, it really saves you a lot of manual labor on trying to keep track of your own play. The other thing I want to talk about today is calculating your sit and go rate, because this is going to be important for you to realize how profitable you are at playing these sit and goes. So to do that, basically what you want to do is you need a larger sample. It's not going to work if you've only played 4 or 5 sit and goes. So I'd like to see a sample of, you can do it maybe on 50, but I'd like to see it out of 100, and then that could be a much better sample of how you're doing with sit and goes. So let's say out of I don't know, you're playing $20 sit and goes, and at the end of 100 sit and goes, you're up $200. Okay. Well, basically that means you have a sit and go rate. What you do is you take your sit and go rate equals the number of sit and goes that you played divided by your profits, and that's going to give you your sit and goes rate. So if you've made after 100 sit and goes, you've made $200, then you have a sit and go rate of $2 per sit and go. So every time you play a sit and go, then you're making $2 whenever you play them. So it doesn't sound like a lot, but that's not much more than what some of these top pros guys make, whatever, but they're just playing so many at a time. So let's say, for example, you want to make $8 an hour playing sit and goes. Well, if you knew your sit and go rate was $2, then you could play 4 at the same time. They roughly take about an hour, and you'd be making $8 an hour, something like that. So just once you figure out what your sit and go rate is, then you can sort of set up realistic goals, and we're going to talk about that in the next lesson there. So homework for today: sign up for Poker Office software if you're looking for something to track your stuff. Calculate your sit and go rate. Okay, if you've played even if you've played 20 sit and goes or 20, you want it on at least 100 is probably a good sample, but you can start somewhere and just get in the idea of how to do it. And then if you want to increase your hourly rate, then play 2 at a time, 3 at a time, 4 at a time, whatever you're comfortable with to get your hourly rate up, if that's what you're doing. I mean, maybe you'll have a sit and go rate of $10, and then you want to make, I don't know, $20 or $30 an hour, where you can play 2 or 3 at the same time, and and do that from there. So that's it for today. This lesson is pretty short. Tomorrow's lesson we're going to actually talk about realistic goals and moving up when you're ready to move up levels. Okay, discover when you're ready for the next level, and that's very, very important, and something you're going to want to stick around for. So that's it for today. Talk to you guys tomorrow.